You guys have absolutely no idea how much I love talking about dating. Because when I was younger, I didn't have that much luck with the ladies. You can say that I was a late bloomer. And I know how it's like because everything seems mystical. Like you're going down the street, you're walking around, and you see other people holding hands, and you want that. You want some of that, but you don't know how to get it because like everything you're trying and everything you're doing doesn't seem to work. And it feels like is this mystical thing, like having a girlfriend. It's and not only that, but I guess like you view women in a certain way that I'm not going to say it's unhealthy, but it's definitely not going to help you to get a relationship. Because you view them as supernatural creatures, like angels, like pixies, And it's interesting because if you're at a certain age and you didn't manage to get any relationship, um, any type of girl would do, right? So like you would look even at a girl that's like really ugly, maybe like a 5 or sometimes even a 4, and if you spend enough time with her, you may actually see her as beautiful. Um, but like she's not interested in you because even though she's a 4, she wants the 8. It is how women are built, and it is how men are built. If you look at statistics, you go on Tinder, and you look at statistics, you'll see like the overwhelming amount of women, like regardless of how they look or how they're perceived, they want like the top 5% of men. It's kind of like if we were to apply this. Holy shit, Artemis Fowl. He actually caught one of my streams live. I thank you. I really appreciate it. I haven't seen a red super chat like that, I think, in years. Ever since VTubers became a thing. VTubers made it so I don't get these types of... I blame Kirsche. Unironically, I blame Kirsche. But anyway, so as I was saying, thank you, Artemis Fowl. Really appreciate it. That's... Now I lost my train of thought. This actually surprised me. I hope the guy that asked me about guns isn't going to track me here. At least we got that. So, um, yeah, most women, they like the 5% of men. And it's kind of like if we were to apply this on the job market, because dating is kind of similar to jobs, right? Like, um, dating is the job interview, if you will. So what ends up happening is that imagine a person that just doesn't have any skills, right? Like he doesn't go to university, doesn't trade, doesn't do anything. A person like myself. But I want to work at Google. I want to be chief software engineer at Google, and nothing else is going to make me get a job. And there's other people that go like, you need to lower expectations, like you need to at least like get a job, that's smaller. And no, Google or bust. And unfortunately, like, there's a lot of women that think like that. And they even encourage themselves, like, don't lower your standards. And it's like, I mean, I don't know if that's working for you, sure. But if it's not working, maybe try something else. Because the thing is, men are lowering their standards. Like if you're a man and you don't get into a relationship for a while, you are going to lower your standards. In fact, like, there are men, just so you can understand how much men lower their standards. There are men that would not approach a woman that may like them just because they think she is out of their league. So a man would look at some lady and it's like, okay, well, this is a 9. She's out of my league. I'm not even going to bother talking with her. I did my premiere at the same time. It is true. Dating is worse than trying to find a job, but dealing with recruiters is just as bad as dating. No, I wouldn't say it's like some people like it. It really depends on the gender, the age. Like there's many things to take into consideration. But usually, I would say that it can be fun. But you gotta know people. Like for example, there are certain women that like they flat out say this on social media. They will say that they only go on dating in order to get free food, right? So like if that's the case, then you need to know who these people are so that you don't get swindled. I can finally send super chats again, now that I send many. Why thank you, the Moonglaive. I appreciate it. I don't remember you sending before, but maybe you had like a different name? So lowering your standards means you have to lower your value on self-worth. It means like being realistic. Like let me tell you how you lower your standards, right? Like if I this actually happened to me. I finished law school. and it was like during the economic crisis of I think it was like 2012, 2014. Anyway, it was like during the big economic crisis, the crash, and I couldn't find any job that was in the field of study that I went, right. So like no lawyer would take me, no agency would have me, and I had like really good grades at the university. I had like a really good resume. But unfortunately, people were firing. They weren't hiring, right? So, like, what do I do? Do I just... Well, I spent, like, 1 year trying to find a job into my field. And then I managed to land a job at a hospital as, I guess, like a sort of accountant. And that's when I realized that I really like how hospitals are, and I started med school. But the idea was, like, I lowered my expectations. Like, I realized, okay, well, I'm not getting a job, but I don't want to be unemployed for the rest of my life. So you lower your expectations. Ain't you married? Your argument is invalid if you haven't dated in years. But like, in order to get married, I did date. And it wasn't that long ago. Like, it's not like I didn't date this decade. I don't think like things have changed that much. If I'm saying something that doesn't make sense, please let me know. But I think I'm going to say a lot of common sense things. Not to mention, like this whole thing with dating. Notice that parents are the ones that should be responsible to tell their sons how to date. This is not something that's being done. Like if you're a guy, unironically, if you're a guy, they won't tell you how to date at school. They won't tell you how to date on television. Like if you look at these shows that are complete trash, The Big Bang Theory, How I Met Your Mother, they all tell you that if you hang around a woman long enough, eventually she will like you. Like complete horseshit. You literally do not have, like, the only place you can learn is if you watch Andrew Tate, and even there you get false information. Like there isn't really a place where you can be like, okay, I'm a guy, this is what I need to do. I make over $150,000 a year. I'm not lowering my standards for women in a climate hoflation. Dude, stop giving me so much money because I might date you. Holy shit. $200 in a stream. Hi V, I hope your day is good. I got $200 in super chat. My day is excellent. The dating market sucks. Also imagine the dating pool for a right-leaning black guy in the United States. So okay, I actually want to address this. We got statistics now. Now, there is something that's happening in the United States. And by the way, Rochan, we talked about it's not like just being hot. There are guys out there who do not know how to date. And they notice that a lot of women don't talk to them. And they will go to a girl that's not even hot. But like, after talking to her, like, they unironically like her personality, and they would be willing to date her. But the problem is, like, that girl, which may be a 5 or a 4, she wants to date the guy that's an 8 or a 9. It's really, when you go on Tinder, you notice this problem. Most women, like, over 90% of the women, they want the men that are in the top 5%. And, you know, that's cute and adorable. And I'm pretty sure, like, the men that are in the top 5%, they're willing to have sex with them, but they're not going to wife them. So that's how the conversation started. But let me show you something interesting, American Outlier, now that you brought it up. There's this graph, right? So this graph talks about how it is true that most of divorces are started by women, and divorce rates is all the way up to 50%. But apparently, if you break it down on education, you will see that it's mostly uneducated women that have like the most no-fault divorces, right? So as you're going down to all the way, you're going down to like PhD and shit, the number of divorce just drops dramatically. And I think like I kind of can explain why this is. Like if you have a woman and she's always at home, right, and you're always face to face with her, the chances of argument increases dramatically. Meanwhile, if you have a woman that's educated, like she's more busy with work, she's more busy studying, you literally don't have time to argue with her. So I do think like because of this, like the more time you spend with the woman, the more likely it is you're going to start having fights and getting bored. While the less time you spend with her, the better. That's just my theory. But like regardless of what my theory is, as you can see here, between the age of 28 and 40, women with PhD are like less than 5% of divorces. And as you go, it's like master's degree raises a bit more, bachelor's degree a little bit more, and when you go to like some college degree or 2 years degrees, that's where like the divorce is in the danger zone. And as you can see here, it's like U.S. Census data from Impus CPS University of Minnesota is the same thing, right? So like PhD women, like you need to find a PhD woman. That's what you need to get a woman with a PhD, a university professor, and you're not going to experience the dangers of divorce, statistically speaking. You can still pull it off though, like they still happen. Well, thank you, Gotten. I appreciate for the super chat. A lot of fights are based on money issue. Surprisingly, from my personal experience, money issue usually makes the relationship better because the two individuals realize that they need each other. So that's when, especially if you have kids, the woman will be afraid. She'll be like, okay, well, I don't want a divorce because then I have my kid. Like, what am I doing? Blah, 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 blah. It's usually when things are great that arguments and no-fault divorce happens. Like everything is fine. Everything is working as intended. There's no problem, right? And that's when she's like, well, I'm getting bored. She may start dating someone else. That's my personal observation. I don't have statistics for this, but I have seen it happen a lot of times. Like usually the people with problems, they argue a lot, but they don't divorce. Meanwhile, look at Hollywood actors. Hollywood actors is the best example. You look at Hollywood actors and find one that hasn't gone through at least 3 or 4 divorces. Like, how the fuck does that even work? Like there are Hollywood actors that have like 7 divorces, and they talk about their 8th or 9th wife. And I'm like, well, at this point, why do you even marry? What is the purpose of marriage? If you're going to just like go through them, I think like the Orthodox Church stops giving you like a religious ceremony after the 3rd marriage. Like regardless of what reason that was, like you can actually have like the bad luck that you get married and she dies in a car crash, and then you get married again and she dies from COVID, and then you get married the 3rd time and she also passes away. The church will not give you like a religious ceremony for the 4th marriage, and I think it's kind of reasonable. Like most people, you know, like they marry once or twice. If you marry 3 times, that's already the extreme. You're supposed to say until death does you apart, so. Yeah. I ran out of coffee. Here we go. V reads the graphs wrong. The percentages are relatively the same. It's just that there are less women with PhD. So there are less overall divorced, but the percentage stayed the same. I mean, that's an interesting take. But like, this is like the whole quota of women with PhDs. But let me look at it again, right? So if your take is that there's less women with PhD, and the percentage is the same, no, I don't buy it, because like, look, out of the total women with PhD, you have like the number that are single, and then you have like the number that are divorced. So they're separated based on PhD. I mean, sure, you know, you can try and make this argument that maybe that there's just less of them. I don't know, like, what is the actual percentage of women that are, like, out of the total population that have PhDs. But like, from my personal experience, usually university professors and educated women, they don't usually get a divorce. That is my personal observation, but again, like it's your take as well that, well, there's less women with PhDs, so maybe that's why. I don't know. I would have to think about it. Maybe you're right, but I don't think so. I don't think so because of like personal observations. Like when I was in law school and we did the family court, most people that came there for a divorce didn't have like a strong education. It did happen, by the way. Like, uneducated people and educated people both have divorces, but, like, statistically speaking, I genuinely felt that there were more people without an education that would have a divorce. Is that coffee brand coffee? No, unfortunately, he doesn't ship to Romania. It shows the percent of all women. It doesn't show the percent per category of education. Yeah, well, unfortunately, I don't have that graph. This is a Peterson tier take. I hope it's a Peterson tier take. Like, Peterson is a world-renowned clinical psychologist. He is quoted in many studies. I would be humbled if I took a Peterson take, but I don't think I managed to. The divorce rate in the lower classes are a lot more common. Yeah, that's what I got from going to law school. That's the vibe that I felt. There were a lot more people in the lower classes that would divorce. And I think, like, I gave the accurate reason for it. Also, women with PhD are at older ages and they're more likely to settle. I mean, I suppose, but like usually, if you get a PhD, like you're probably married before then. There are cases where they marry after, but that is a good take. Yeah, I do think that the older the woman, the more likely is that she's going to settle. So, like usually divorces don't happen after the age of like 40. I mean, they can, but it's very rare. Peterson lost the plot a long time ago. My God, that is not an understatement. I look at him on Twitter, and every day it's like angry old man yelling at sky. And by the way, like let's discuss a right wing thing. You get like some people that go around and they're like, women shouldn't do this, women shouldn't do that. We need to hold women accountable. Like, this is the thing that really triggers me when someone says we need to hold women accountable. You're trying to hold strangers accountable. You cannot do that. It's like holding strangers accountable for not giving you a loan. You cannot hold a stranger accountable to anything. The only thing you can do is if you're in a relationship, you can hold accountable the wife, right? Because like she's in a relationship with you. But you cannot hold strangers accountable. It's the dumbest shit ever. It's like screaming at the sky. It doesn't work that way. You can hold your family members accountable. You can hold your friends accountable. You can hold maybe even like your work colleagues accountable. But you cannot hold strangers accountable. It's the dumbest take of the internet. The concept... And by the way, you know who else holds strangers accountable? I will show you who else still holds strangers. These individuals hold strangers accountable, right? Why is this? Hold on. There we go. This is what it looks like. Unironically, when I see people on the internet trying to hold people accountable. Like, and when they say people, they don't mean like an individual. They mean like an entire class or demographic. Like, we need to hold men accountable. We need to hold women accountable. It's literally this. It's literally this, but on fucking reverse. Just stop it. It's cringe. The only thing you can do is you can hold your behavior accountable. You can be in control of your choices. And you can also be in control of the people that you're in a relationship with. You cannot hold stranger accountable. My bad. Sorry. I apologize. Shouldn't have happened. But it did. Yeah, you can hold yourself accountable. Hold these nuts accountable. Yes. We hold men accountable already. We don't hold women. No, again, you can't do that. No, men are not held accountable. You cannot hold strangers accountable. It doesn't work that way. It's like holding people accountable for not giving you loans. It's literally the same concept. Cannot be done. Even like you can hold an individual accountable, but you need to have like some sort of relationship with him, right? So like for example, the government can hold you accountable if you break the law. But you cannot hold accountable someone else that you don't know. Like a hypothetical... No, it doesn't know. You can via Sharia law. No, even in Sharia law, is the government holding people accountable. So the government holds people accountable for breaking Sharia. Or like the police, the patrol, the Sharia patrol holds people accountable. But like you personally cannot hold other people accountable that you don't know them. Men are held accountable is through the power of the state. Yeah, if you break the law. then the government holds you accountable. But you personally cannot hold a stranger accountable. You cannot. I mean, you cannot hold me accountable, for example. Because I'm in no relationship with you. I have no obligation towards you. Like someone needs to have an obligation towards someone else in order to be held accountable. Anyway. This is another interesting thing. Your vids on men being blamed for everything every single day. What are you doing? Yeah, but like that is trying to hold people at shame, right? Like you're trying to shame people. You're not holding them accountable. Any guessing? No. Yes, you can. If he has a bad take, you can dislike the video. I guess, but that's not holding me accountable. That's shaming me. Let me think. Okay. Actually, no, like, there is a theoretical relationship between subscribers and content creators. So, yeah, like, you can actually hold me accountable. If I have a bad take, you can downvote me. Because it's an implied relationship between me and you. Like, I have to put good content for you guys to watch. If I put bad content, you dislike it. So, yeah, no, actually, my bad. I revisited. Jordan Peterson said that people need ID to use the internet. Yeah, that's a dumb take. Holy shit. It is bizarre. Like, the things that I believe is that he's trying to grow his Twitter audience. So, like, he's trying to be controversial. Unfortunately, it's how you grow on Twitter. You need to have dumb takes. And from what I noticed on Twitter, if you put a cat video, like you put something wholesome, it doesn't go as far as if you put something outrageous. Like, if you put things that upset, anger, or annoy people, it's more likely to get shared than if you put something that makes people laugh. Actually, like, no, hold on. Making people laugh can also get shared, but not as much. Outrage gets shared the most. So because of that, you have Jordan Peterson having, like, all these dumb, ridiculous takes. It's probably even unlikely that he is the one tweeting it, but whatever the case may be, he is trying to grow his social media influence. So he is saying things that he knows will upset people. And because of that, people engage with that. The way that you can grow on Twitter right now and make money on Twitter is like the dumbest thing possible. And hopefully these people will get blocked and muted faster so that we can actually use the platform as we're supposed to. You get like a question. It's like, you're alone with Elon Musk on an island. What do you do? Right? So you get like a lot of these dumb questions, and the whole reason they exist is for you to engage with the post. Like, they want you to go there, leave a comment, leave a like, leave a whatever, and by doing so, you're giving them traffic, and they can actually monetize it, right? So this is why, like, when you go on Twitter right now, you will see a lot of these dumb takes. It's like, you're in a plane crashing on an island with Vosh. What do you do? And they're completely senseless. Like, there's nothing thought-provoking. There's nothing interesting. But for some reason, people retweet it and they share it. So hopefully it will go away. How much money have you gotten from Twitter? Okay, so like the first month, I will tell you how it worked with Twitter. The first time that the program was rolled, where you get paid on ads, there were a lot of people that got like $2,000, some even more, like $4,000. I think like Tim Pool may have got a 6. I'm not sure. I would have to check. But basically, like, a lot of people got a lot of money on Twitter. But this was due to the fact that there were like very few people which had access to it, right, to the program. So because of that, there were a lot of ads to go around, and the people that have like a lot of viewers and subscribers, they managed to make a lot of cash. But then the program was rolled to more people, right? Like, slowly it was open to the public. So I got it when it was open to the public. I think I got like $170, which is more than what an OnlyFans girl gets on average. So $172 per month, like, that's nothing to scoff at. That's really great. I managed to buy a Ushikushi Sakubasu with that money. But then more and more people started using it, and they also like used various cheap ways in order to gain traffic. So I got $20 the next month, and I think I got like 15 this month. So it is what it is, like it's some extra money that I can use to pay for Twitter Blue. It's not really that unfortunate, but it's not a lot, right? Like you can't make a living off of it. Um, but if you get like 6 million impressions, I think like that's when you can. The only problem is like people trying to get more cash, right? Because like most people aren't like me, and they don't think it's like, if the money comes, the money comes. But like other people are like, no, I must make money off Twitter. So they start posting clickbait shit. They start doing like all these things. It's like, oh, you're alone in an airplane with Elon Musk. What do you do? I was like, oh, fuck hell. And they get like billions of views as well. The problem is like they're spamming my news feed. Like I'm trying to see what happened today, and it's all these dumb questions. It's fine. Like I'm muting them all. Eventually, no one will ask me what do I do. They will know what I do. I'm muting and blocking. That's what I do. You start at 400 subs. It really depends. I mean, if you know how to grow a Twitter account, it's really easy. Like I tried helping American Outlier. I don't know how many subscribers he's got. Let me check. But it's not impossible to grow, especially if you have like some content to show for it. So I don't know if like I can find American Outlier. Yeah, I don't know his Twitter account. I think he got like over 1,000 or around 1,000, and he's doing it for like a couple of months. It depends like what you're doing. If you're putting out like some content that people want to see, then you're going to grow. Take into account that content that people want to see can literally be going on TikTok and taking clips from there. I mean, Libs of TikTok is literally what they're doing, and she's got like millions of followers. So, why are you so interested in dating? I'm not interested in dating. I'm interested in helping other people date. But like dating is a very interesting subject. I find it fascinating. Everyone should be interested in dating. It's part of a human relationship. Anyway, let me. Oh shit. Let me see if I haven't lost the. Here we go. Right, so let's look at the statistics. Do men and women agree? If a physically unattractive man flirts with you politely, do you feel mostly positive or negative about it? Oh my god, like this is actually interesting. So, according to this, if a unattractive man flirts with a lady, 41% will feel negative about themselves. While men think that the percentage is much higher. But I think like this means that women know that most men will probably not flirt with a woman that thinks she's out of her league, right? So like, no, I actually understand why this is happening. Like most men, they rate themselves, and most men rate themselves pretty accurately. Like they will say, okay, I'm a 6, right? And they think like, okay, so I can date probably a 7, but anything above a 7 is out of my league. So they will look at the women around them and they'll say, all right, well, this is an 8. And she may even be interested in the guy, but he looks at her and says like, this is an 8. She's out of my league. I'm not approaching her, right? So when a woman gets approached by an ugly man, knowing this, she will think that, okay, so he must think that I'm not out of his league. So she feels negative about the interaction. That's actually really interesting. This one is also fascinating. Like this one mind blown me when I was a young lad. And now you actually understand it, right? So like, holy shit. I remember like, I had this job when I was, it's kind of, it used to be like a minivan that transports people. I don't know the word in English for it, but it's not a bus. It's something like, it's really small, like a minibus, I guess. and you have like all these seats, like it had like 30 or 40 seats for people to sit in. And basically, there was the driver, and I was the ticket guy. One of the first jobs that I got. I think I was like 14 or 15. No, I was 16. 16. And basically, people came up to me. I gave them a ticket. They gave me cash, right? And sometimes the bus driver would ask me to sit behind him so that a lady can sit on the chair, right? And he would flirt with her in like the most vulgar manner possible. Like he would even like put his hand on her leg, right? And I was like, you know, because I was like educated. I mean, we were told at school how to behave around women and whatnot. But the thing is, like, the guy, bus driver, usually had like 2, 3 phone numbers per day. Like the man was swarming in pussy. And I'm like, how the fuck is that a thing? And the reason is this. The more ignorant you are, the more of your confidence goes, right? So, like, ignorant people, they have peak confidence. I figured this out at university. Because you look around, right? And it makes sense. If you're a guy that has, like, a lot of knowledge, so you're very cultured, right? You're going to look at a woman and you're going, like, your brain is creating all these roadblocks. Your brain is saying why it's not going to work out. Yeah, your brain is saying, okay, you're going to approach her, she's going to make fun of you. You're going to approach her, she's going to not be interested in you. She's going to ridicule you in public, blah, blah, blah. Like, your brain is just constantly doing all these roadblocks. And I don't even think, like, this is necessarily with dating. Like this is actually true for most things. It's kind of like when the gas pipe breaks and the father with high levels of ignorance thinks that he can fix it himself rather than calling a professional. And this is the same in dating. Like, it is so fucking accurate. Like the people that are ignorant, the people that are like, you know, how should I even put it? That really don't care about the subject. They are going to have high confidence. The more knowledge you have, the less. And then when you go, like, I guess like an expert in dating, like, what would that be? That would be like, I suppose like a person that tries to date quite often and is successful. He is still not at the confidence gap as someone that's ignorant. I found that to be incredibly fascinating. You call it audacity? Yeah, it's kind of like that, I guess. Thank you for being a member, Danny. I appreciate it. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Yeah, but like, you don't expect to see it in dating, do you? Like, it's usually related, I believe, to job applications and stuff. Sorry, like when you ask someone what knowledge do they have of a subject, that's where you apply this. Is the Freddy Krueger effect? For the second time. Why do I have 2 cups? Yeah, I know about the Dunning-Kruger effect, but I never thought about applying it to dating. Like the way I understand it is, let's talk about Counter-Strike, right? Or League of Legends or something. So if you talk about League of Legends, and you show the game to a person that plays it the first time, right? And he starts learning it. He gets to learn the champions. There's going to be a point where he's like very confident in his skills. Driving, actually. Driving is even better, right? So like if you take a driver that drove for like, I don't know, maybe like a couple of months, he starts believing that he's actually a really great driver, right? But the more you drive, the more you understand that no, actually, you're not that good. Like, you start noticing, like, you can't parallel park like other people can, you know? You can't drive with the same speed that other people can. You don't have like the same control of your car. So like the confidence goes down. And then like if you're an expert, like you really like cars and you study and right, you get like somewhere here. But you are aware that there's like a vast difference between you and other experts. Meanwhile, the ignorant person, they just like automatically believe that they're at the peak. So it applies to dating. That's what I found fascinating. It's a fundamental part of human psychology. Yes, it is. Talk about Dota instead. It applies there as well. I don't get like why parallel parking is so difficult. Like when I genuinely like didn't have a problem with it. I guess like maybe if you change your car and then it's like a different size of the vehicle, but even then, like I had other difficulties, but parallel parking wasn't one of them. Actually, my wife could parallel park as well, so I don't know. I guess like the only time it was difficult, and it wasn't really that, but like I could see that it can be a little bit confusing, is if you have a one-way street and you're supposed to parallel park on the left side. That really annoyed me. But after a while, I managed to figure it out. So even in that situation, it wasn't that bad. But nowadays you have like all these cars with sensors and everything beeps, and you even have like cars that show you a video footage of the rear view. So I don't get it. It's like how can you not like how can you not parallel park? It's not that fucking difficult. But again, like what's easy for me, maybe this is the Dunning-Kruger effect, like maybe I haven't thought about parallel parking in that much depth in order to realize just how much knowledge I'm lacking. I guess like parallel parking in the snow, that would be interesting. Men with lower pitch speech were seen as more attractive and tended to have higher sociosexuality, greater desire for casual sex. Okay, this one is interesting. So, desire for casual sex. It can be detected in the voice. Oh my fucking god. I don't have a low pitch, do I? Great topic, V. I find dating, especially today, very demoralizing. One big shit test I have too much pride to take part of. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, Midwest Finest, but it's not insurmountable. If I did it, so can you, but I guess I have a high-pitched voice. Romania chat, I don't have a high-pitched voice, do I? I sound like pretty... I think I sound normal. I don't think I have a low-pitched voice either. It's somewhere in between, isn't it, chat? Because apparently, it can be detected in the voice. A recent study, using people from Brazil and the Czech Republic, found that sociosexuality is linked to speech attributes, which are different for men and women. Men with lower pitch speech were seen as more attractive and tended to have more unrestricted or higher social sexuality. In contrast, women's desire for casual sex wasn't related to their voice pitch, but their vocal tract length, which influenced resonance. How does that work? Like, what does resonance mean in a voice? I can't imagine it. But anyway. Women interests might change across their menstrual cycle. This is something that I actually do. Like this is something that we also were told at med school. It wasn't like official. It was like the science, but it was like broadly approached. If you're on the pill, like you'll notice. So obviously it doesn't happen to all women, but like I heard about this so many times that there must be a correlation at some point. So the woman gets in a relationship with the guy, right? And maybe she's on the pill. The moment she stops being on the pill, the relationship breaks up. Like, she's not attracted to him anymore. She doesn't like him anymore. It's something that I've seen so many times that I generally can't explain it any other way. So a controversial topic. There we go. Yeah, well, it's controversial because I guess it affects the finances of the big pharma that wants to sell you the pill. With the human evolutionary sciences is whether women's social sexuality tracks their fertility status. The logic here is that the cause of pregnancy risk changes across the menstrual cycle, so women mating psychology should shift according to that if they become pregnant. It's the best possible option. For those in close and happy relationships, this would be their current partner, but in other cases it might be more attractive prospect outside of their relationship. Early studies support that ovulatory shift hypothesis, but later ones with larger sample size cast doubt. The latest research using direct hormonal tracking and other longitudinal data seems to suggest that there may be something there. Okay. Men interests change as they settle down and become fathers. Holy shit, this is true. Like, legitimately, I stopped being a furry the moment I got into a relationship. It has long been established that testosterone declines with age in men, and this happens more quickly when they become fathers. Now research has convincingly demonstrated that the same happens with social sexuality. A study in Philippines took almost 300 single and childless men and tracked their social sexuality over years. Those who became married and fathers at the time showed a drop in their desire for uncommitted sex, while those who stayed single did not. It appears that settling down has both psychological and hormonal effects on men, as they shift from directing their time and effort on mating towards parenting. I suppose it's also like the thing that when you don't have sex, like the desire increases dramatically, but like when you're settled down, you pretty much have sex whenever you want. Within reason, of course, but like it's definitely like you have more sex when you're in a relationship than not. So maybe that's why. It draws people towards Tinder rather than Match.com. A recent study from Norway found that high social sexuality predicted greater use of picture-based mobile apps like Tinder. These apps emphasize quick decisions about physical attractiveness compared to more traditional dating websites, which gives more detail about life circumstance. We know that both sexes tend to prioritize physical attractiveness when choosing casual sex partners, so it seems that those with high social sexuality use the dating pool best aligned with their priorities. This study reveals an important lesson: pick your domain carefully. If you are looking for a commitment, then don't use Tinder. That is a good fucking point. Holy shit. I'm surprised I didn't think about it. But like, yeah, if you're a woman and you want to be wifed, don't use Tinder. Like, I don't know, I knew about this, like, I got my wife from Facebook. You don't use Tinder. It's so fucking dehumanizing. So it's not just about promiscuity. We have recently completed research about the desire for non-monogamous relationships, where one person is able to have sex with multiple partners, and this includes polygamy, where a man has a long-term committed relationship with multiple wives or girlfriends. One of the surprising findings for us was that those who had a general desire for uncommitted sex were more open to all types of relationships that weren't monogamous, though they were slightly less keen if they had to share a partner with someone else. Why is it surprising, though? I mean, I don't even know if you can call it hypocrisy or anything like that. It is kind of like hypocrisy, right? But like a person that cheats, when he is found out, he expects to be punished, right? I mean, it's not like when he finds out, he's like, oh, well, why do you care? But if he finds out that you are cheating, then he gets upset. No, like, that would be hypocrisy. No, like, I do think, like, most cheaters, they expect to be punished if they're found, because that's why they're hiding, right? But yeah, I mean, in most relationships, like, this is not even something that requires a study. This is not even something that's shocking. Like most people in every relationship that cheat, they get upset if they find out that their significant others cheats as well. So they don't accept their wife cheating, but right? So like if you have a man that cheats, and he finds out that his wife cheats as well, he gets upset and angry. In fact, I would also say, like, this is something that we notice in human psychology. Like, most people hate the flaws that they have in them. They hate to see them in others. So, like, for example, a person that's lying and dishonest, he hates if other people lie to him. And he hates it more than other things, right? Like, when you see your flaws in other human beings, it's very upsetting for some reason. I can't say why, but I noticed that it applies across the board. Hello, Friedrich Marx. Welcome back. Women aren't in fear of being punished for cheating. They get rewarded for it. It depends. Like, if you're going to generalize versus if you're going to apply it to an individual person, right? Like, take into account that first of all, it depends on nationality. Like, I understand that in the United States, the laws governing divorces and stuff are really messed up. So I kind of get it, because if you're a woman in the US, you actually make money if you get in a marriage and then you file a no-fault divorce, right? So, like, there's no punishment if you cheat. But take into account that this is bizarre, but women can and do fall in love. So they may like that man emotionally, but they may cheat, right? And then if there's a breakup, even though they get 50% of the wealth, and even though they get child custody, and even though they get alimony, they do like the man, and they're upset that they missed him. How do I know this? Go on women forums. Like, if you go on Reddit, if you go on other places, there's even articles on mainstream publication with women who are like, oh, well, I cheated, but he was too harsh. I remember, like, actually reading an article like that on this channel because it was so audacious. So, like, basically she cheated, and when she came home, the door was locked, and the man never wanted to talk to her again. And she was really upset that he didn't give her a second chance, and she thought that it's a good idea, for some fucking reason, to go online and cry about it, expecting sympathy. But what she got was just cold shoulders from people. So no, I do think, like, that there are women, based on, like, finding these articles, they must exist. But there are women that do not like it if they're punished for cheating. Like, you actually get to see this on reality shows as well, and on television, like usually when they have, like, competition with people that talk with each other, and you know, like, the woman cheats and she's caught and she starts crying and stuff. No, I do think that they care. Why don't men just get better at warping the system? Not hard to beat a woman in child custody battle in the West. I have no fucking idea. But like, from what I noticed in the United States, usually the men are the ones that lose the custody. Now, take into account that they have lawyers, so it's not like they personally are doing something wrong. I mean, you hire a lawyer, and the lawyer argues your case. But I do think, like, most of the time, women are the ones that get the custody. And there were, like, feminists that were outraged when they lost the custody, because now they were like, what do you mean? Like, I have to pay money for my child support? And it's like, but like, the man is the one that has the money for himself. Like there was, like, another article which reminded me, and this was hilarious. So, like, for some reason, like, the woman lost the child support. Very rare, but it happens. And she was upset that the money that she gives, she doesn't have any guarantee that it goes to the kid, right? So she was basically saying, it's like, well, I'm giving money to this guy, and the guy can just use the money to go out on a date. And I'm thinking, like, well, yeah, but isn't that how the system is designed? Like, when the roles are reversed, right? Because she was saying it's a misogynistic, patriarchal system. And I'm thinking, like, yeah, but, like, when the roles are reversed, and the woman is the one that gets the custody, and the man has to pay the child support, the money that the man gives, there's no guarantee that it goes to the kid. I mean, the kid obviously gets something, right? Because he still needs food and diapers and everything. But, like, the rest of the cash, you know, if the mother decides to go out dating, there's nothing you can do about it. Right? I mean, isn't that how it works? And not to mention, like, child support. In some legislations, there's no cap. So basically, if the man is a multi-millionaire, then he gets to give a lot of child support. And I mean, let's be honest, you know, like, if you have a baby and you give him diapers, you give him formula, you give him, like, everything else, and you put some money aside in case he gets sick, he doesn't need, like, $100,000. You know, like, doesn't need $10,000 a month. Doesn't need $5,000. I'm pretty sure, like, with $1,000 a month, it's more than sufficient. So everything extra, like, let's not delude ourselves that the mother is going to use that money for herself. But even when the kid is a teenager, like, I don't think she's going to buy him a sports car if the dad is a millionaire, you know? Please don't point hypocrisy. No, it's not pointed. Like, if you don't point hypocrisy, how are people expected to change their mind? I had leftists that changed their mind. Child support rarely goes to the children. I do agree. Unironically, like if the government was doing this and it was doing it properly, like, they would make you show receipts. Like, the woman should actually have an accountant. I'm not even kidding. Or learn how to do accounting herself. And she would have to, like, show receipts for the money that you get for child support. And all the money for child support should go for the children. And if you do that, you would disincentivize mothers to want to have no-fault divorce. Because, like, when you get a TikTok video with a lady that goes, like, You should never get like 5 kids from one baby daddy. You should get like 5 different baby daddy with one kid, because then you make more money. And I'm thinking, like, like, I can't fault her. Like, she's absolutely right. Like, the math checks out. So, like, you are incentivized of getting like 5 different kids with 5 different baby daddies. Like, that is true. However, this is what the government incentivizes. If the government would ask you for receipts and be like, okay, so this is the money that goes for child support. They have to be in a separate bank account. And every time you spend that money, you have to hold the receipt. If you spend the money for a baby formula, you have to have receipt. If you spend the money for this and that. Obviously, it gets a little bit more difficult when the kid is a teenager. But even then, like, the teenager, like, if he buys something for himself, receipts. I mean, look, it's difficult, I get it, but, like, you're getting money from a different person, and you need to prove that the money is going to that cause, right? Like, the money is going for the baby. You can't have money and go out dating and then claim that, well, I need more child support next month, or else the man goes to prison. She's out of line, but she's correct. Yeah. But like, who cares about morality? As I said, like, you can't hold strangers accountable. Like you're not related with her to hold her accountable. You're not her daddy. You're not her brother. You're not in a relationship with her. Like, you can't change her mind. When I say you can't hold people accountable, just so you understand, I'm not saying that you can't scream at the internet and complain and whine about it, just like the women on The View are doing. What I'm saying is that it's not effective. Like, they don't care. Like, she's making money. You're moralizing. Who are you? She doesn't know you. Block, mute, ignore. You need to have, like, some sort of relationship with the person to hold them accountable. Child support should be a tax write-off for whoever pays. I already thought it is, but I'm not part of the American system. I thought that it is a tax write-off. Like, it's deducible income, isn't it? Apparently not. Oof. You hold her accountable by not dating her. No, that's like you having standards. But even then, like, she doesn't care. She's not interested in dating you. So it doesn't really affect her, right? Like, unless she's interested in you personally, and then it's different. You can hold people accountable, because then you know them. You can't hold strangers accountable. Strangers don't give a fuck about you, just like you don't really give a fuck about them. Like, no, seriously, ask yourself this. If a stranger moralizes you about something, do you give a fuck? Like, some random guy on the street gives you, like, a comment. Do you care? And if you do, maybe you shouldn't. You don't know him. Abolishing taxes would make money worthless? Kinda, I guess. Yeah, in a way. Because, like, you need to make money to pay your taxes, because otherwise you go to prison. But, like, without that, the money would technically be paper, right? Because, like, the money used to be on the gold standard, so people would be able to go to a bank and exchange the cash in gold. But then gold was taken, so now you only have paper. But you need to use that paper to pay your taxes. So without taxes, it would have value. No, like, even if it wouldn't become worthless. It would become worthless if people think that the money doesn't have value anymore. But as long as, like, people want that cash and they give you something in return, it has value. You need the dollar to buy oil, though that may change. You must moralize via mockery, otherwise it's not effective. Yeah, but, like, if you're making money and it's your standard of living and other people mock you, who cares? You know that prostitutes exist, right? Like, I'm talking about, like, sex work is real work type of argument, right? Like, everyone mocks a prostitute, but, like, they still exist. Like, women of low moral fiber exist despite the fact that it's social stigma against it. If taxes are abolished, then how would the government build a prison? You do realize that people used to govern themselves before prisons were being built? Like, prison is actually a relatively new invention. During medieval time, the dungeon was the exception. It's actually quite funny if you look at dungeons in medieval time. Apparently, you had to pay for your stay there, or you would go back. So, like, if you did something bad, and a noble decided that you go to his dungeon, until you were released, you had a bill, and after you were released, you had to pay the bill for your sitting there. And if you didn't pay it, you went back to the dungeon. I just weird. I don't know if this happened everywhere, but I think it happened in Germany. Yeah, I mean, the hanging, but like before hanging, it was chopping people, right? Like the medieval axe was replaced by the guillotine, and that was considered to be humane and very forward thinking and very progressive at the time. I think like when the first Star Wars movies was released is also the time when the last person got guillotined in France. So, um, but basically, yeah, prisons are a very new concept. And the thing is, like, if you had prisons today and you put them in a medieval society, they would actually like them. I mean, think about it. You give someone, you give a free roof over their head. They don't have to work. They get free food, free clothing. I mean, holy shit! Do you know how many medieval peasants would want that? So yeah, I don't think like the prison system would even be able to be applied to that society. However, back then, yeah, most people would have corporal punishment. And in a way, like I would prefer corporal punishment. And I think like most people would do. Like if you're to make a decision, what do you want? 5 years in prison or 10 lashings? I mean, usually like even in Saudi Arabia, they probably figured it out. So now they're giving prison and lashings, and it's like okay, well. They want to reformat the petrodollar as the digital one. We're hosed if they do that. Yeah, that would be like really bad. Um, they used to have like working in the mines as a punishment before prison. So working in the mines was like incredibly cruel because back then there were like collapses and cave-ins, and there was almost no guarantee of safety, and you'd probably work until you die. Plus all of the dust that you inhaled and all of the negative conditions from the mine. But yeah, like it used to be like that. It used to be very bad. So that's how medieval society used to handle things. Corporal punishment, dungeon was the exception. Working at the mines was actually, I guess, like the equivalent of a prison. And once you were in the mine, they wouldn't even let you out. Like most people that went to the mines, that they went there for life. There was a hole in the ground, and the guards would never go in. But every month or every week, they would pull out the stuff that there was mined, and in exchange they would drop down food. So like in my country, the Okna it was called was like just a big hole in the ground, and the prisoners like they handle their own shit, right? So like the guards don't care who works how much. They just want the same quota to be pulled out every month. Otherwise, they don't get food. So every month they would bring up their excrement, their if someone died, right? Like they would bring up the corpses and whatnot. So like they would pull them out, and then they would drop food, and that's it. Like what happened in the mine, they don't care. I can't even imagine just such a system. It still happens in some places, like in some prisons today. I think like in Mexican prisons, that there's this where you have like the capo, the person affiliated with the cartel, like he's got a cell phone and he's got women and all that stuff, and they come in and go as they please, the women I mean. Yeah, pretty much like Gothic 1, but a lot more evil. Um so basically, yeah, you had like the system, and there were very rare cases where people were allowed to come out. I think like you could come out if there was like a major revolt outside. So like a peasant uprising, like sometimes they would free the prisoners in a mine in order to cause more chaos. There were like times when a new voivode would go to the throne, so like a new king would go to the throne, and he may release people. And also there were sometimes like if a noble was sent to the mines, like the son of a noble, his father could pay a fee, or maybe he would talk with the noble to try to talk to the king to let him out. But so there were like a few cases. But it was almost like it was for life basically. You are fucked if you. Anyway, right. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you Artemis Fowl for such a huge donation. I don't remember why I got this super chat. So man, a lot. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.